All right, welcome to the first lesson, and this is all about text to image. So you type it, ChatGPT makes the image. It's that simple. So we're going to go through a couple different versions of this. I'm going to start simple, and we're going to progress and progress and progress until we get a more complicated example. But all of this is text to image. If you see this, that means that I paused the video for the computation to solve and then show the image. So for most of this, I'm going to do real time with no edits. But when it is like making the image, I'll kind of pause the video and you'll see this, and then I'll come back out of that and then you'll see the result. So let's get into it. So the first thing I'm going to do is, I'm in ChatGPT. I've just got a regular prompt here. I've set this to instant. Now your interface may look different depending on when and time you watch these videos. So this could change at any moment as OpenAI makes adjustments to ChatGPT. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to this little plus sign here, and you'll see that you've got all this stuff here. You can add photos, you can do deep research, create image, agent mode, add sources, and more. Study and learn, web search, canvas. We're not getting into all of these. We're mostly just going to work within this create image. So I'm going to click on that. And this is just a little like hint for ChatGPT to know that, okay, the end result of this is I want to make an image, right? So I'm going to start simple. So the concepts in this first iteration are to show object recognition. What does that mean? Basic lighting and composition, and then understanding how adjectives like color and lighting can affect results. So for the prompt, I'm going to say a single red apple on a wooden table. I have a monitor up here, that's why I keep looking up here. A single red apple on a wooden table, softly lit by a window light. Table, it would help if I could spell right. Table, softly lit by a window light. Okay, now because this is ChatGPT, it's a conversational interface, so you can have misspellings. It'll kind of guess what you meant, and it can infer things based on your prompt. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit enter here. So this first one I'm not going to cut away. I just want to show you how long it takes to kind of do these generations. So I'm just going to hit enter. So that's my prompt: a single red apple on a wooden table, softly lit by a window light. I've got this set to image, and there's also this styles thing. Let's talk about this for a minute. You can choose a style. There's some presets in here. Now what this does is this is going to add stuff to your prompt under the hood so that the image that gets returned is more in line with one of these styles. We're not going to use this right now. We're just going to go straight up, make an image, a single red apple on a wooden table, softly lit by a window light. I'm going to hit enter there. Now it's thinking about it. I have this set to GPT-5 instant, so it's going to get started right away. And you'll see that little cranking away with the moon coming up over the mountains. And you start to get this kind of like blurry image that slowly fills in. For any of you that are old like me, my kids like to say that I graduated in the late 1900s, which is true. Class of 98, woo, from college. Anyway, the internet then would load JPEGs and images from the top down. And this is very similar to what this is doing. So it shows you this blurry kind of fog of war of what the image could potentially be, and then it slowly fills in the results. And by default, it makes two versions of the image at the same time. Now it just gave me a square image because I didn't tell it anything. We're going to get into that, kind of how that works. But you can tell it, I want a widescreen, I want a portrait, and it'll try to stick to those aspect ratios for you. Now one of the images already finished. You can see the little thumbnail over here. Yeah, let's take a look at that. Now when you click on it, it'll get bigger. So there's my apple. That is exactly what I asked for. I asked for a single red apple on a wooden table, softly lit by a window light. So that's the first version of it. Here's the other version of it. So different angle, still a red apple, single apple on a wooden table, lit by a window light. So let's talk about in painting a little bit. So I clicked on this little up in the corner there, this little, it's like a selection tool. I'm going to highlight this part of the apple, and then it says describe what you want to add, remove, or replace. I'm going to say take a bite out of the apple. Now it's going to think about it, and it's going to look at the selection that I made. It's going to take that image. It's going to regenerate the whole thing, but it's going to take a bite, hopefully, out of that apple. So we should see the inside of the apple. We should see maybe some teeth marks. We'll see what happens. Again, I'm going to let this generate in real time, so I'm not cutting away for these first couple, just so you get an idea of how long this takes. It's really fast. For iteration, to see multiple versions of something, it's really quick. And while I am doing text to image here, and I'm not putting any of my own artwork in for this, in later lessons, we're going to show kind of how you can bring your own art into this, and really, that's where it really gets powerful, where you can combine your artistic mind with the power of the GPT to really flesh out your stuff quickly. But anyway, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Here's the apple. It says it's creating images, may take a moment. It's taking a bite out of the apple. Now, what's cool about this is it knows, based on just that little bit of text, what a bite is, what a bite out of an apple would probably look like. Probably it's figuring out what the inside of the apple would look like. So, the outside's red, but the inside of an apple looks different than the outside. So it's kind of taking all that into account. And let's see. Something went wrong while generating the response. That happens sometimes. But you can see it's still actually making it. So let's let this cook and see what happens. The server's getting pounded right now. This is I'm filming this when Sora 2 is still pretty new. So all of their servers, I'm sure, are getting destroyed right now under the hood. I purposely did this in the evening, late at night, thinking I could get around some of that just based on the time of day that I'm doing this. But it is what it is. So let's see. It might have actually stalled out now. Yeah, let's do retry. Oh, retry. Hello. This is what happens with the live demo, folks. Okay, it's getting started. I'm going to cut away. I know I said I was going to show you in real time, but it's good to see that sometimes there's things that happen out of your control. So, actually, let's let it go. I won't cut away for this. I want you to see all the warts that go along with image generation. So it's thinking about it. I do like that there's a visual tell that it's doing something. Like you get that sheen that kind of ripples across the image as it's working. It's nice to have some kind of visual feedback that's actually doing something and it hasn't crashed. Creating images may take a moment. Yeah, so imagine, you're a photographer and you want to do an actual product shoot. It takes time to set all this stuff, set up your lights, set up your camera, go to the location, get an apple, everything. This is a great way to just flesh out a bunch of ideas quickly and then kind of narrow your focus so that on the day when you do the actual practical shoot without AI, you've already got a clear picture in your mind of what you want. So here's a bite out of the apple. So there you go. There's one apple, two apples, and then these are the images that it generated before. So I took this one and I painted the bite out of it. And you can see that it's a slightly different angle or different position of the camera. And then even between these two bite ones, it's slightly different. So it's regenerated this entire thing. So there you go. There you go. There you have it. That's the first lesson. How do you like them apples? Okay, so that's just part one of the first lesson. So let's talk about, and this is the other thing too. When you're doing this, you want to use a chat for the image. If you change images completely and change subject completely, start a new chat. Because if you don't, it's going to start to pull elements in because it thinks in that train of thought that that's what you wanted. So like if you did an image of a guy eating a hot dog and then later you generated somebody else standing, it might try to put a hot dog in the scene somewhere because it knows that that was important before to you. So I'm going to do a new chat here. And I'm going to, for my next one, I want to mess around with scene and mood and style. So for this one, we're going to talk about scene composition. We're going to talk about time of day and mood. And we're going to talk about introducing artistic styles. So my prompt for this is going to be a cozy cabin in a snowy forest at dusk. Warm light glowing from the windows. Let me check my spelling here. From the windows in the style of a watercolor painting. Okay, now what I expect from this, now let me actually it would probably make an image anyway out of this, but I just want to really enforce that I want it to create an image. So I'm going to choose that create image. Now what I'm expecting here is it's going to make a cabin cozy. It's probably going to be a smaller cabin. Lighting is going to be important here because it's a forest at dusk, so we're probably going to get some shadows from the trees and such. Warm light glowing from the windows, so the cabin's going to be lit from the inside. It's probably going to be a little bit darker outside, and it's going to look like a watercolor painting. So let's see what that looks like. I'm going to hit enter, and I am going to cut away for this one. Actually, wrong image. Here you go. I am cutting away for this one. All right, we're back. Let's see what we got here. So here is our cozy cabin in a snowy forest at dusk. Warm light glowing from the windows in the style of a watercolor painting. That looks like a watercolor painting. There's the cozy cabin. It's glowing light. It's at dusk. Here's the other version. That's pretty cool. Let's say we wanted to make an adjustment to this. Let's go ahead and I'm not going to use the highlight button here. I'm going to just type change the time of day to midnight. Strong, help if I could spell. Strong moonlight lights heart of the scene. All right, so this is going to change it quite a bit. Maybe I won't cut away for this part. But you get the idea. So once you get your basic image, you can go in, you can start to kind of mess around with it and pull parts of it apart, change lighting, change the time of day, scene composition. You can change it up a little bit. Maybe we'll do that part next. So it's still solving. Let's see what happens. I think maybe the next thing I'll do is I'll move the camera a little bit and show you what that looks like. And we'll change the art style to something completely different. But let's go ahead and I'll pause this while this is cranking away. All right, so we're back. We've got our cabin at night. There's the strong moonlight. This is looking pretty nice, the soft glow there. I kind of like this other one better though because it's got the nicer light. Looks pretty cool. Now let's say we wanted to move the camera. I'm going to do these one step at a time. So I'm going to move the camera a little bit. Pull the camera back to show more of the environment. We see snow-capped mountains in the distance. Let's add a little bit of smoke coming out of the chimney. Add some soft smoke rising from the chimney, or as my father would call it, chimley. There's no L in that word. Okay. Anyway, let's go ahead and hit that. Let's see what happens. Now, what's nice about this is that, you know, obviously it would take time to paint this picture in real life. Now, if you were doing something and you showed it to a client and they said, oh, I like this, but can you make this little change? And you're painting this by hand, that could take hours and hours, if not days of work, which is fine. That's, you know, it's your own thing. But if you're doing art for a deadline, this is a great way to just rip through stuff quickly and kind of get where you want it to. Now, you could have painted this yourself, put that painting in, and then make adjustments to it. And now you're adjusting your own stuff. And we'll get into that in future lessons. But for now, you know, just kind of file these away in the back of your mind of how you might use ChatGPT or AI to kind of embellish your own work. So let's see, the camera should be pulled back now to show more of the environment. We see snow-capped mountains in the distance. Add some soft smoke rising from the chimney. It's looking pretty good. Just this little bit that's already displayed. We'll make it big here in a second. All right, first image is done, second image is done. So there you go, there's the smoke. We pulled the camera back a bit. We see the mountains in the distance. Same, you know, slightly different setup, but similar take. Yeah. So that's that bit. it's the kind of thing we're looking at. So that's cool. Let's go on to the next one. So now for the third one, we want to talk about character and setting and interaction. So let's do like a photoreal version of this, maybe. Let's do a new chat here. Let's do an image, create an image. A young woman in hiking gear standing on a mountain. Let me fix my spelling here. Gear, standing. Wow. Standing on a mountain trail. It's not a typing demo, folks. Mountain trail, clouds drifting below her. Captured in cinematic lighting with a shallow depth of field. So in this lesson, this bit right here, we're going to talk about human subjects and how that works, action, context, and realism, and camera effects and depth of field. Now, I'll tell you in advance, certain things you might do it innocently enough, not expecting a bad result, but the GPT will start to kind of read through the tea leaves, and if it starts to get too close to something that it deems sensitive material, or something that's like scary, or something that involves children, it might just fail the image completely. So again, this was filmed in October of 2025. So guardrails are changing all the time. Just keep that in mind. So, but what I'm expecting here is a photorealistic version of this. So let me actually put that in there. A photorealistic image of okay, there we go. Let's go ahead and let that go, and I'll pause the video while that runs. All right, we're back. So this is really good. I just typed in, you saw what I typed, a photorealistic image of a young woman in hiking gear standing on a mountain trail, clouds drifting below her, captured in a cinematic lighting with a shallow depth of field. So these are the image that it did. So it did its own formatting. So this is more of a portrait mode like you'd see on a phone. That's really good. That's what I asked for. And then it also gave me this other image. Different angle, different lighting, but, clouds below her. She's up on a trail. She's in hiking gear. That's really good. Now, let's say we wanted to change some stuff about this. Let's change, maybe it's her birthday. Let's give her a birthday hat. Let's just kind of make this shape on her head here. Add a traditional, actually, let's do this. Does she have a hat on? Oh, she has like a headband. Yeah. Add a birthday hat. Now, what I'm expecting is a cone-shaped hat. I didn't tell it this. This is what a birthday hat means to me. We'll see if ChatGPT has the same idea. But a birthday hat to me is that conical, kind of cheapy hat with a little elastic band that goes under your chin, that if you do this and snap it, you're going to get hurt and cry. That's what a birthday hat is to me. So we'll see if it adds that kind of a birthday hat. Now you could go in and you could, we'll get into this in future lessons too. You can bring in other images and say, put this thing on this thing. And you can kind of use ingredients to make an image. We have a whole lesson on that coming up later. But for now, let's see if she gets her birthday hat. I didn't cut away for this one. I'm not going to now because it's already going. So we'll do it live. Let's see what happens. I'm not sure why she would go on a hike for a birthday. I guess, that's a valid thing to do on your birthday. Go for a hike. Lots of people have told me to take a hike on my birthday. So we'll see what happens with this lady, if she gets her birthday hat or not. It's a heck of a distance to go for a birthday party. And it looks like we got a cone hat on this one. So this, because I used the highlight feature on that image and said add the birthday hat, it's only doing it to that image that I used as the source. Excuse me. So we're only going to get, right side facing girl here. Yeah, and now again, it's making both images at the same time. So you're rolling two of these at a time, which is kind of cool because you kind of can do an A/B test here to see what you like better. Her head looks really large now, like comically large. I don't know what happened. I guess it was a little big before, but now it's like extra. Well, maybe it's not extra big. I'm just seeing it differently. Maybe the hat really changes her. No, that's definitely too big. Her head is way too big. Uh, you can prompt around that as well. She doesn't look happy that maybe it's not her birthday. She hiked all the way up here for a birthday party and there's no party, so she's upset. But you get the idea. You can start to prompt these things and change the way they look. Um, maybe we'll do one more prompt here. Make her head a more normal size and make her look happier. She looks a little concerned right now or something. Let's see what it does. Happier, I'm expecting like her brow to change a little bit, so she's a little more like her brows are up a little bit. Maybe a bit of a smile on her face. She doesn't look like she just heard a noise behind her. Let's see. You can see how you can start to build on these things, and one thing leads into the next. We started with this, and then we added the party hat, and then we realized her head was too big. And we made this adjustment here. It was her birthday, and she let it go to her head. That's what happens sometimes. Anyway, here we go. It's getting started. Now, what's nice about this is you can click on this and it'll... Oh, actually, it's not doing it. Sometimes it'll tell you what it's doing, like what its thinking process is when you click on these. And right now it's just telling me it's creating images, may take a moment. Now it looks like it's changed quite a bit on this. So that's the image we had. This is the image it's going to. So let's see how much happier she looks and if her head is a more normal size. Already she looks happier. Her brows, already she looks happier. Oh, she looks like she might be smiling. We've got a smiler. But she is excited. Look how happy she is. See, it was her birthday after all. It wasn't a trick. What do you mean there's no cake? Just kidding, there's cake. Oh, look how happy she is. Cool. All right, so that shows you a little bit about character setting and interaction, right? And how that you can make characters do different things. So let's do a new chat here. And I'll do a new image, create image. So now on this one, this is all about a narrative moment with specific art direction. So I'm going to do like a 1940s style image here. So a 1940s detective. So you already kind of have a mental image maybe in your head of what that looks like. In a rain-soaked alley. I think rain-soaked is a hyphenated word. Rain-soaked alley. Cigarette smoke curling under a flickering neon sign. Illustrated in a noir comic book style. Let me fix up my spelling stuff here. Illustrated or illustrated? Okay. So what I'm expecting here is I'm giving it some era and aesthetic cues, right, with the 1940s detective and the noir. I'm using emotion and storytelling. So it's a detective and it's a rain-soaked city. So I'm expecting a certain kind of a mood here, and then stylization and genre blending. That's the illustrated and a noir comic book style. So let's go ahead and send this up and see what happens. And I'll pause this while this solves. All right, so here's our detective in the rain-soaked alley. Cigarette smoke curling under a flickering neon sign, illustrated in a noir comic book style. So here's the first one. That's really good. I don't know if I can zoom in on this. No, I guess I can't. Can I do this? Let's see. that's about as good as it's going to get. Let's set this back to 100%. Yeah, so here's our first image. Now there's some smoke behind his head, which is a little weird, but that's okay. Maybe it kind of whooshed around with the wind. And then here's the second one. I kind of like this one. It's raining. It's definitely got a mood to it. Yeah, it's pretty successful, I think. Now, what if we wanted to change the style? What if we wanted to change the look here? Let's see. Change this to a 3D animated feature film style of the same thing. So what I'm expecting here is a complete style change. So it'd probably be a detective, probably with some smoking cigarette, probably in an alley as well, but it should look like a 3D animated film. So it might even keep it in black and white. We'll see. But I will pause this as it solves. Let's see. All right, these are really good, you guys. So here's the first one. Here's the second one. I really like that it kept the wispy smoke, even though it's a more 3D animated style. The smoke treatment is still really graphic, which is pretty nice. And the word actually makes sense now, which is interesting. Like it didn't in this other one. I mean, this one I guess did. This was the one that I told to make 3D. So now I said 3D animated. What did I say exactly? Animated feature film style, the same thing. So this is like a Pacific Data Images, old school reference version of this, or rest in peace PDI, or a Blue Sky, rest in peace Blue Sky version of this image. So yeah, that's that. So we've got one more lesson in this video, and that is the multi-layered cinematic scene. So this is kind of like an expert level thing. So for this one, we're going to talk about complex world building. We're going to talk about advanced visual effects, so like fog, light scattering, things like that. And we're going to talk about combining realism and imagination. So I'm going to go click on the create image as well. And then I want a futuristic, it would help if I could spell, futuristic city built on floating islands above the clouds, glowing bioluminescent luminescent plants and neon airships drifting between towers, rendered in ultra detailed cinematic 8K realism with volumetric ultra realism with volumetric lighting and atmospheric fog. Sorry for the making you guys watch me type, but that's how it works. Oh, volumetric lighting and atmospheric fog. Okay, there we go. Let's go ahead and throw that in. Let's see what happens. So you notice my prompts are getting longer as I go, right? So we started with apple on a wooden table with light from a window. And now we're adding in more detail. We're adding more description. We're adding more elements to this. So, you know, as you do this and you start to kind of refine your ideas, you might start to drill down and get more specific or have very detailed needs that you want to get into your prompt. And how it interprets these are going to be like a kind of a guessing game, really, for some of this stuff. Like, you know what neon looks like, but what color is the neon? You know, you can specify. If you don't specify, it'll just pick a color. You know, so if color palettes and things are important to you, and we're going to get into this in later lessons as well, you can bring in those palettes and you can say, use this color palette use this light temperature, and that'll really help kind of drive the final look of your imagery. So it's cooking away. I didn't cut away on this one, as you can tell. So it's making the imagery. Again, it does 2 at a time. So let's see what a futuristic city built on floating islands above the clouds looks like. A little Gotham City-ish, maybe. A little bit of, a cyberpunk kind of look, maybe, with the neon. All right, so there's the image. It's floating islands. There's the bioluminescent mushrooms, airships. Here's the other image. Very cool. So you can see you can do a lot with this. You can really start to dial in stuff. You could add cabling in between the islands. You can move the camera around by telling it, push in, zoom out, pan left, pan right, aerial shot, things like that. All of the vocabulary that comes with traditional art you can use in here. So hopefully this first lesson has really kind of opened your eyes as to what's possible with text to image. And in the next lesson, we are looking at ingredients to imagery. I have notes off to the side here, so that's what I was doing. So this was all text to image. The next video in the series is going to talk about ingredients to image. So I look forward to seeing you there, and hopefully you got something out of this. Drop some comments below. I'm not sure how courses work yet exactly in YouTube. It's a new thing that they're just rolling out now, so I'm excited to get into this. But like I said, I'll check the comments regularly to see if there's any kind of questions about any of this. If you do have a question, throw it into the comments or message me somehow, and I'll try to get back to you. But yeah, that's it for the first one. So 1 down, several to go. Hopefully you learned something, and see you in the next lesson.